Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the very first Softball America Big Ten Media Day. What an exciting day for our sport, and more importantly, this conference as we continue to grow. We added in 3 teams, so now we have a West Coast audience. But before we get to the new teams joining the conference, I wanted to bring in and really be our leadoff today with somebody who could not know the conference any better. 6-time Big Ten Coach of the Year, now entering your 24th season at the helm of Northwestern softball. Somebody I was lucky enough to play for, Kate Drohan. Thank you so much for getting us started here today.
Thank you, Sid. Thanks for having us on, and thank you for doing such a great job covering our conference.
I appreciate that. And this is a conversation that's really fun because we've been talking the last how many months, and I kept coming to you saying, like, I really want to do something for this conference as we continue to grow. And we're going to get into it a little bit more. But I just want to know from somebody like you who's seen the conference for the last 2 decades, even before that, when you were coaching underneath Sharon Drysdale, what has the excitement been these last few months, knowing the audience is growing and really becoming nationwide?
I think a couple of things are happening at the same time, and it's been a tremendous moment of growth for our conference. And you already mentioned it once, adding 3 nationally prominent, dominant programs to our conference has been huge in terms of the level of competition, what our weekly games will be. It's extended our footprint recruiting in a real way. It's increased our television footprint. So you name it, it's done wonders for so many things in our conference, right? Then you couple that with just the growth that's happening overall. You look at
Mhm.
our TV numbers, you look at the number of games, the meaningful games that are being played in February, the number of games that are being televised nationally in February. So what that's done is it's really given our sport this platform that it deserves, in my opinion. And I
Mhm.
think that's uniquely important for the Big Ten Conference when it takes us a little bit of time before we can actually play on our campuses.
Mhm. And before getting into how that's changed specifically for you guys in your schedule, I kind of want to reflect on what these last few weeks have looked like for your team. I was fortunate enough to be a part of your third Big Ten ring ceremony, and I know that's a special day for the program. Can you kind of explain to those who don't know what it is, how it allows you to celebrate the season before, but really it's to also kickstart this new year, new chapter 2025 team?
It's interesting. We were honored at a football game, and that was really meaningful for us to celebrate within our community. But we thought January would be an interesting time for us to get all of our stakeholders and our community members together to say, "Hey, let's have one more celebration for what our women accomplished the year before." But it's also a unique transition, like you said, to get the freshmen in the room, to get the freshman families in the room, and for us to really set our course as we move forward. But to be honest with you, Sid, I just love it when everybody gets in the same room. Whether we get a ring or not, that's extra. That's great. But I'm just so proud of the community that our former players, our current players, and all of our families have built.
And to kind of share everybody what that night looked like, I loved the message that you gave and kind of the turning point last season. And I want to talk about that group a little bit because you're returning almost every single one of them.
Mhm.
You're returning 7 of your 8 top hitters. How many starters? And that's a very different feeling from where you entered last season, where there was a little bit of doubt in terms of how just the rest of the conference was looking at you guys. How are you going to do it after you graduated 70, 80% of your starting lineup? But now you're able to lean in on that experience where young players stepped up and new leaders emerged. How have you used that experience to kind of fuel you guys into this season?
There were some markers last year where I knew our team really understood what we needed to do for our group to win. And what we talk about all the time as a staff is each year is different. You
Mhm.
know, Kelsey Nader was different her freshman year than she was her sophomore year. So even and then you add graduation on that, and then you add freshman classes on that. So it's like we've really been clear with our group, like, hey, this is a stand. This is our one opportunity to win with this group of women. So that's been a very meaningful thing for all of us in the program. But 2 things that we saw our newcomers really start to own the program, like they were the program. They weren't just part of it. They were it, and I think that was an interesting shift. And then we saw some people really step up at some leadership roles. Because the previous year, not only do we graduate a lot of innings, a lot of playing time, but also just a lot of really strong personalities and leadership.
Mhm.
yourself included. So it's like when we have that kind of turnover, it just takes some time for people to step up. And so, it was a really fulfilling process for us, like a really neat journey to go on. And now you have all those women who figured it out, and now their roles change again, and their experiences are helping shape their moment now. But still, they've got to keep growing.
I think what's an exciting moment for the conference is you did have those new faces emerge. You had Renee Cunningham, you went too late in the games, Riley Gredzalonic, but two players I want to be really specific that your program is bringing back is Lauren Boyd and Grace Nito. And those are two names that the Big Ten Conference hasn't been able to talk to in a little bit, but had such exciting beginning halves of their careers. But also for those close to the program, know what a role they've played kind of behind the scenes in the dugout. What has your relationship and everything looked like the last year, and just your feelings to getting them back on the field?
So even though they were injured and they couldn't play, their leadership never wavered. Their growth in that role within the program and their mentoring, they were just so dialed in. And honestly, our team really benefited from Ashley Miller to Emma Ray to Riley. It's just really, really neat. When I see them as players and how they see the game, it's almost like they had a chance to be a coach for a year and to see the game from the other side, and now they get to play it again. And I know that so many people after they graduate, they're like, "Gosh, I wish I could go back." I see the game, and now I feel like they have that perspective.
Mhm.
So their confidence, their playfulness, their ability to recover from failure, their ability to really stay in the moment and slow the game down, that's what I've really enjoyed seeing out of them the last few weeks here.
What would you say this team has kind of showed you these past few months in the off season leading up to days away from your first game about this group? What makes them unique?
They work, and I've been really fortunate to be able to say that about a lot of teams who've put the uniform on. This group has really focused work and really competitive work, so that's been a lot of fun. We're very athletic and we're very versatile, so we
Mhm.
have people in a lot of different positions, and I know that there are moments here where we're craving some consistency, but I also think that flexibility is going to serve us well. And then you think about what our staff has done in the off season. I love the program that they built in terms of development. And you'll talk to Kansas and Kelsey here in a second, but how they were able to develop from freshman to sophomore year, and
Mhm.
then they show up and they're just as motivated to develop at that rate from sophomore to junior year. When you have people like that setting the pace, and then you have a staff that has really dialed up this great program, it's a lot of fun to be around.
And I know something that's very, unique to Northwestern is how much you guys like to push yourself within those first 2 weeks already. And when you kind of take a look at your schedule, I mean, you're facing top 25 teams, really like 11 out of your first 14 games. And I know for you, that's not really a challenge, but it's more looked at as an opportunity. What has that message been with you and the team, and just the team amongst each other? And what opportunities lie ahead in the first 2 weeks here already?
Right. I think the message is simple, and how can we use these opportunities to get better? It's
Mhm.
it's all about, like, how from yesterday's practice to today, how can we find ways to be a little bit better? And they're really great opportunities, and they're going to be tough teams. I love playing tough competition early in the year because it sets our pace. It helps our softball clock, so we
Mhm.
really understand, um, pitchers, what our approach needs to be, how we need to make an adjustment, the pitching changes we need to make in games, and different things like that. So it's really neat to go through that growth, and I think this group has the maturity to be able to handle what's being thrown at them.
As we wrap up with you, I just want you to be able to talk about Kelsey Nader, Candace Robinson before they come on here, and what those two have specifically done. Obviously, they've elevated the play physical wise, but both of them emerged as pretty big leaders last season, and just as they step into an even more of a leadership role this year.
Yeah, and you have a chance to have these two on the call, but I want to put Bridget Donahue in this group as well. Our trio of juniors, they have a big responsibility in terms of leadership, and what I'm talking about is setting the pace of practice, our recovery on the field, being able to reach different people during different moments in practice and in games. So all three of them have done a tremendous job, and all three of them have really different learning styles, but all three of them just love to play the game and they love to win. They love to have success. And so it's been fun for us as coaches to really try to serve them in their learning style, but also have them together build that momentum. So it's they're fun, and they always have a smile on their face, and they just bring a lot of joy and energy to the game, and that's been something that's really been important to us, and I think it will be a key part of our success.
Well, I don't think there could be a better way to introduce them. And Kate, thank you for your time. I appreciate you getting us
Absolutely.
started here today.
Yeah, I saw a question in from my guy Ben, who I know has some Northwestern ties, but I'll speak briefly to the fact that now we have buys in the Big Ten schedule, which we've never had before. So that gives us a chance to host a program like Mississippi State on our own footprint, and I think that will continue to make those pre-conference games that much more meaningful. So I appreciate the question, Ben. I hope we see you.
And that's a game that everybody can catch at least one of them on Big Ten Network. But if you haven't been to the J, this is the year to do it, because after that, pretty exciting plans coming up with some rebuilding for 2026. But Kate, thank you as always for your time. And we will see you in a week for game time to start.
Awesome. Thanks, Sid. And go Cats.
All right. Well, Kelsey, Kansas, welcome on. I'm sure you're listening to every word Kate had to say about you.
Hi, Sid.
Hey, Sid.
For you guys, this is always such an exciting time of year, as the butterflies start to begin. You're a few days away from game days, but also you've just been training and practicing against each other week after week. How excited are you guys to finally be able to hit the plane soon and take the dirt?
Yeah, I can go first. I'm just really excited to finally compete against some other people next week. I'm really excited to get on the field with these girls and see just the work that we've been putting in this month come to life. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, second that. I think we're just really excited to be together as a team. We've been competing and scrimmaging against each other a lot, and it gets a little hostile sometimes. Competitive, so we're excited to all be rooting for the same team.
I know those days. I remember throwing to you guys way too many at bat, so I can attest to that. Both of you two emerged on both sides of the field last year defensively, but I really want to talk about offensively and the confidence that grew for both of you from game one to the last game. Of every time you stepped up to the bat, there was fear in the pitcher's eyes, but there was just belief amongst yourselves, but also within one another. You became a very deadly 1-2 punch. What did those conversations look like in your head, but then also with one another, knowing that, hey, like I could take this pitch because I know my buddy behind me is going to get it done? Kels, we can start with you.
Yeah, I think me and Kansas, we talked a little bit about it, but it was kind of a sense of like trust we had with one another. Kind of the mentality that like I always saw it as is Kansas has a really good eye at the plate. And she would kind of feed almost what I would see at times for at bats. So that kind of helped me dictate a plan of like, do I want to bunt? Like, what can I do to move Kansas over? In that sense, and she's so awesome about getting on base, so that made my job really easy. But I think it was kind of just like a trust that we had with one another, that we were going to give the pitchers as much as a hard time as we could in a way to set the team up.
Yeah, seconding that. I mean, like Kelsey said, I think the trust that we have in each other really helped us grow at the top of the lineup. I think my confidence was fueled from the knowing that I had Kelsey behind me. Like I know that she's gonna move me, she's gonna pick me up, and also the 7 other people that were behind her as well. I think really helped elevate my game and the team as a whole. So I think that trust, that connection between all of us was really important in our success. So yeah, it's a lot of fun and in front of Kelsey, knowing that she's there to pick me up. So.
And just to go off of that, in the beginning of the year, I was actually 1 and Kansas was hitting 2. And we switched about like halfway and we're never going back. We found our groove. So I'm so happy being the 2. She can be the 1 any day.
I love that. You're writing the lineup already. So great job. I want to talk about your guys' success, because going into your junior season, both of your years looked very different, but had the same result, winning a Big Ten championship. championship. You went from going on a very veteran team, and between the two of you and Bridget, making an impact already as freshmen, which is very hard to do in our game, to then the next year really having to put a lot more load on your shoulders, but you both did it with so much grace, maturity, and leadership. Where did you see growth the most within yourselves between year one and year two, and hoping to carry that into year three? Kansas, you can lead us off this time.
Yeah, I would say there was a lot less second guessing. I would say that both me, Kelsey, Bridget, a lot more physical. And I give that to our alums for leading the way. And all of the upperclassmen set a great example our freshman year. Obviously, coming into a team full of vets was a lot of fun, helped us grow a lot and really settle in sophomore year. But yeah, a lot of confidence was built through that. And I think just we were a lot more physical coming into sophomore year. Freshman year, there's still those jitters, the unknown. And sophomore year, we were really able to settle in.
Yeah, seconding that, I think that we had a really great jump in taking risks, and being physical on the field and even off the field, more on the off season as well. And kind of speaking with the alums, said some of the wisdom that you guys share with us and just how to slow the game down, and how to figure out what to do, whatever thing you can to do to win the game, and how each game is going to be a different win, or a different type of ball game, was a really important lesson I learned, and kind of learning how to flow with the game and how each game is different was one of the biggest things I learned. And then also Kansas can attest to this, but last year Boyd and Nito were in our back pockets 24/7, helping us out offensively, defensively, anything we could to get the team going. So they were the backbone of the team for sure.
Yeah. Let's expand on that a little bit, because both of them were out last season due to injury, but as you just mentioned, played such an important part for every single one of you, and just their leadership from the dugout at practice. What is it going to mean to you all as a team when you see them take the field for the very first time?
You saying that just kind of gives me chills.
Yeah.
It's really excited, just from us personally being able to experience their journey, and seeing them get back on the field. It's really inspiring. It makes me a little sentimental, the chills, I can feel it, but it's really exciting. I mean, they have done so much for this program, this team. Amazing leaders, amazing people, even better friends. So it's really exciting, and I can't wait to see what they do.
Yeah, I think everyone on the team is so psyched, but they had such a big impact off the field. One can imagine the kind of voice and the kind of intensity and physical and excitement that they're gonna bring to the field. And I'm just so excited to play with them again and have Boyd walk to second base and back in between every pitch. So I'm super excited for that. And I get super emotional because they deserve the world and more. So
I think it's clear as you both talk about them, the impact that they've made while being off the field. And then I know it's going to be a special moment for everybody as they step on. But I love your guys' language, because you keep bringing it back to the program. And I want to talk about what the program has done in terms of 3 Big Ten titles in a row. Obviously, eyes forward ahead to next season. But until we turn the page, can you kind of speak to of how does a program do that? I mean, we talked about your 2 years, how different they were from your experience, from the team makeup. What do you think is really the special, unique part that this program has been able to do year after year that lets you guys be the ones hoisting up the title at the end?
Yeah, I feel like in any interview that you have with a Northwestern softball player, we talk about our culture. I think that's the base of who we are, how we show love to each other, to the game, I think is really special, and I think has allowed us to have so much success these past few years. But yeah, I think the base of it is the culture, the type of young woman that we bring into the program, and the type of people that leave this program. There's this consistent standard that we all have, which I think is really unique and has allowed us to have a lot of success.
And I know you know this, Sid, but for those who don't, like Northwestern prides themselves on being good to each other and being good to the game, and I think that stays consistent throughout all the different programs here, and that like starts from a standard that Kansas said, which is set by Kate and Carol and our coaches. Like they create us to set a standard, and we hold ourselves to that standard, and I think it makes it so fun to be a part of a team that's so special and has such great friendship with one another. Like I can't say it without smiling because this team has brought, and every team I've been a part of, and even past, like I'm great friends with the alum as well. So like just that culture, that family atmosphere and family vibe is what makes us so unique every year.
And I think what's special for people who haven't played our game is culture most of the time is fostered within the fall and off the field. Like that's one of those things you can't flip the switch come springtime. I mean, you both know it and just pretend you guys are all best friends. So for you guys, take me to what off the field has looked like this fall, this winter. Like what have you guys been doing as a team to foster these relationships before you step on the field with one another? Kels, we can start with you this time.
I mean, just like pure fun. Like we cannot stop laughing in the locker room. Like people will come like 3 hours before practice just to hang out, chat, like talk, just like have a bunch of fun, have a bunch of laughs, like things like that. And then after practice, we're staying an hour after in the locker room, just chatting, having fun. Like our team won't stop laughing. And I think that is so unique to this team. And like it shows a lot of like joy around the game and around each other. And I think that's what makes like the hard moments that you go through in the off season and even in preseason, it makes it like so worthwhile because you're having such fun with these girls behind these 20 women behind you. And you know that you guys can do anything you want when you put your minds to it. So like it's like a collective like unit and mind working together because we have such a great bond with one another.
Yeah, like Kelsey said, this team has a lot of fun. There's definitely not a dull moment. I think we can find like humor in almost anything, which is pretty cool. I mean, off the field, obviously, like in the locker room after practice, before practice, going to the softball house, and Curry doing all of our nails for the ring ceremony. Just those little moments, going out to dinner. We always find a way to find each other somewhere. So it's really awesome that this group has this connection and this much fun on and off the field. It's very consistent there. We have a big group of very unique individuals who we all love and embrace, which is really exciting. And we're able to have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, I was tempted to embed the TikTok link of you guys being two of the three little pigs with Kate on here, but I did not do it. So if anyone wants to go on Northwestern softball TikTok and get a good smile today, you talked about that joy. That is that right there. Let's talk about this freshman class that is coming because you talk about big personalities. That class has so many fun different ones that I know has been implemented into your locker rooms and at practice already. And you have not only personalities, but you have talent where these freshmen are going to create immediate impact, just like you guys did coming into the program for the first time. Talk to me about what this class is like and what should people be excited for in these new faces.
I can start us off. I think our freshman class this year, they're like each one of them very unique, very different personalities, and I think like strengths with the field. And I think collectively as a whole, they're very, very athletic. Like they know how to move on the field. Like Avery and Kaylee, and then Kate's speed, like and Emma Ray's like poise, like all those things are really, really unique to us. And this like bringing in like these freshmen it's super fun because I remember I was a freshman, I had no idea what I was doing, and like now being able to see like wow, like these key elements in these young women is so awesome and know how much they're going to impact and help our team moving in the future. So it's a lot of fun having them there, and they're really, really funny.
And Kansas, for you, because you're also bringing in two and very, very talented infielders. How has that been like from infielder experience, just being on the field with them and just their attitude and confidence already?
It's been a lot of fun. I mean, speaking for all of them, they are a very competitive bunch, which is really exciting. And then I think Kate hit on our work ethic. Our freshmen work very, very hard, which is very inspiring for the players around them. They make me want to work harder. They work really hard. We have Kate Dowden, who's going to be stealing bases on everybody. We have Avery Bombs.
Bombs.
Can hit the ball.
Bombs.
Kaylee, so athletic. It's insane. And then Emma Blay is going to make a huge impact on that mound. So I'm really excited. It's fun playing with them in the infield. And I can't wait to see what they do this year. And they're going to do a lot for this team.
Mm-hmm. You guys like need to replay that to them in the locker room and be like, look at us. Like, we got so much belief in you before game one.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the schedule, because I talked about it with Kate before you guys came on, and the opportunity that lies ahead in facing talented teams amongst yourself right away. What has that conversation been like as a team? Is that exciting, you guys? That competition right ahead, game one? Especially also being on MLB Network, which what a moment for our sport as well. I know you both are going to have slicked back, beautiful hair for it. What are the feelings heading into game one?
Yeah, I know that the team is really excited. I think, like you touched on, it's an opportunity. Playing these really tough teams is exciting for us. I think it's a good challenge at the beginning of the season. We're getting thrown right into the fire, which is exactly what we need. I think it's going to make us better, prove to ourselves that we're able to compete with these top teams, that we are a top team. So I'm really excited. And then when it comes to the MLB Network, it's amazing for women's sports. I love it. I'm so excited. But yeah, I'm ready for next week to get started and compete with these really cool programs and see what our team has to offer. So
yeah, going off that, I just think like pure excitement for this team. I think our team has a lot of anticipation too, which is like getting the jitters and like the juices flowing for the games too. So that's going to be really exciting. But I think we're just ready to see this as an opportunity. Like facing this many great programs in preseason can really help us set the standard, as Kate was saying, of how we want to attack and play each game. And I think that's going to be really great for us moving forward, moving into such a competitive Big Ten season and also into postseason as well. And then in terms of MLB, big fan. I love the MLB. So this will be such a fun game. Great for women's sports, as Kansas said. Also great for the Big Ten. We have 2 Big Ten teams on that first night for the MLB. So really excited about that. And women's sports need to be shared with everybody. So
yes, absolutely. You guys are facing Tennessee, and then the other Big Ten, as you mentioned, Nebraska, with such an exciting matchup to Texas Tech, 2 of the best arms in our game. Let's talk about the conference briefly as we start to wrap up here. How exciting. You're bringing in 3 teams, NCAA tournament year after year, Women's College World Series contenders, how it brings in this West Coast audience to the Big Ten Conference. What is it like for you guys right now as players in the conference, knowing more eyes, better competition, and what an opportunity it is for this conference to really grow and put themselves on the map softball-wise? Kels, we can start with you.
Yeah, just going off what you said, I think it is going to be a really great opportunity for the Big Ten. The Big Ten is a very gritty, underdog type of conference, as Kate always says, and I think that with these great teams coming on, I think it's going to bring a lot of attention and kind of bring that spark to the Big Ten that we all know, and now that a lot of other viewers can see it as well. So I'm really excited to have them on. It's going to be a really competitive league, also help us a lot with postseason games and just like a gritty schedule overall. So I'm really excited to have them on board, and I can't wait for all the attention that the Big Ten is going to get because of it. So
yeah. And Kansas, for you, even touching on how you guys get to go and play at UCLA this season, what is that like to be able to go to a new stadium for Big Ten conference play?
Yeah, I mean, I am so excited. I can't wait to go out there into some warmer weather. But yeah, I think it's really cool. We have a lot of competitive teams that have joined the conference, which is so exciting. As Kelsey mentioned, the Big Ten is really gritty. Typically have been seen as the underdogs, and I'm excited to get some more spotlight on the Big Ten, which will be exciting. So the rest of the world can see who we are. the type of play that we have, and play some really cool teams who we usually only see in this upcoming month. And now we get to play them during season. So I am so excited to compete with all these teams.
And for you both being from the Midwest, to seeing a Midwest conference be able to grow to the level it is softball wise is exciting. And I have to share a little comment of people who are already excited to watch you guys play. As we wrap up, I wanted to know, what is one thing from both of you that people should know about this year's Cats? And whoever feels most ready, go ahead.
I'll go first. I'm gonna say what Kate has been saying with like kind of our identity for this year, which is loyalty. I think that this year's Cats, we are Northwestern softball. We're like embracing those standards of Northwestern softball, and just the loyalty that we have to the program, to each other, to the coaching staff, to the alumni, to this really unique family here at Northwestern. And I think that loyalty is just gonna set us apart from everybody else.
Yeah. I mean, loyalty is a perfect word for, I think, all of these girls. We would do anything for each other on the field, off the field, which is really special and I think is going to take us really far. And then also what we've been hitting on this whole time, how much fun we have. Everyone will see it when you watch it. There's going to be smiles on all 20 of us.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun.
But yeah, a lot of fun and just loyalty, love for one another and the game, I think is really exciting for this team, really special and who we are. So yeah.
I love it. Well, Kelsey, Kansas, you know I'm proud of you as an alum, but I appreciate you coming on, helping us get kickstarted for this Big Ten Media Day. You could watch the two of them and the rest of the Cats opening weekend, Clearwater, Florida. And then stay tuned all day long because already at 10 Central Time, we'll be back with Illinois softball. But for you two, thank you again. I love you both.
Thank you, Sid. Love you.
Thanks.
Go
Go
Cats.
Cats.
We'll see you all shortly.